Hello, good afternoon all.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I hope you all are safe and doing best from your side.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
good. I hope my voice is coming clearly today. My voice is coming clearly, right?
No, ma'am, your
Yes,
background voice is more.
Okay. Just give me a minute and then we'll start the session. I hope my voice is coming clearly now.
yes,
Okay, so we'll start the session. Uh, First of all, so many of you have written mail to me, and that's a positive sign that you are attending session and you are working. I'm happy for that part. I have somehow I could not give feedback to all, but definitely I'm going to do that within 2 days. I have sent feedback to some of the students, and I've also got reply from their side. Those I haven't submitted, I haven't given the feedback. Just give me the 2 days, so I'll give you the feedback soon. And now let's start today's session. So, as I told you in the last session, that one of the students is going to give the opening remarks. So, I think I have appointed someone for the opening remarks. Who is that person? I've already appointed someone for the opening remarks. So basically, the one who is going to give the opening remarks, you should tell what we have done in the last session, and then I would like to proceed for this session. So, who is going to give the opening remarks? No one is ready. I've already assigned this task to someone. Email writing, we understand. That's great, Tasvi. Sagar Kubawat, would you like to give the opening remarks for today's session? Just for 2 minutes. That's it. Sagar, may I request you to give the opening remarks? Sagar Kubawat. Okay, fine. No problem, no problem. Let's start with today's session. So basically, the last session we dealt with the very first topic of Unit 1, that is effective writing skills. And as a part of that, we completed email writing. And so many of you have wrote mail to me, and that's a good part. Today, we are going to discuss the most important thing that is definitely going to help you in your. Yes, I will share the PPT. Yes, before we start today's session, I would like to tell you one thing. Um, by tomorrow morning, I'm going to create Google Classroom. It's a virtual platform. Uh, so you'll get the notification from your institutional mail ID. You need to accept that. You need to accept that proposal. So I'm going to create a virtual classroom where it's quite easy to access. What I'll do, you just need to accept that from your side. I'll teach you how we are going to work on that. Okay, just remind me in the last 5 minutes of this session. I'll just give you the overall idea how this Google Classroom works. Okay. So I'm going to create the Google Classroom so that at one at one point we all can access things together. So it is a kind of a virtual classroom, and I'm going to upload everything there. So most probably I'll create that classroom by tomorrow morning. And all the assignments that you are going to submit to me, you're supposed to submit to the Google Classroom. Okay, how? Don't worry, that part I will teach you. Okay, let's start today's session. So the topic that we are going to deal with today is very important. Just a minute. I'm sharing the PPT. Give me a minute. I hope you are able to access the PowerPoint presentation. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Let's start the session now. Just a minute. Hello, are you able to access the screen now?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay, fine. I'm so sorry. Because of this network issue, I got disconnected. And Tasvinakum, I'm here only for your kind information. Yeah, let's start the session now. Um, Basically, the topic writing about a research proposal is something that is going to help you in your academic career. Since you're doing masters, doing a research is something that is really important for you. And if in future you're planning to do PhD, then of course you should be quite familiar with research, like how to do research, what is the purpose of doing research, why you should do research in a particular area, what are the benefits of doing research, how research is going to help you as a student in terms of developing knowledge within you, and how your research is going to help the society. So considering you as a student, who is doing MSc in microbiology, I kept in mind certain points that is definitely going to help you whenever you're planning to do serious research in your domain, in your area. So, research is something that must be a part of your day-to-day life. I must say, if you have not started doing research in your area, you should start doing research in your area of specialization. So, writing about a research proposal. Now, it's a term, research proposal. I would like to break this term, and we'll see one by one. First, I would like to discuss what exactly research. What do you mean by research? Before we start, I would like to ask you one question. Are you working on a kind of research project right now? In third semester? Just type yes or no. Are you working on any sort of research project in this semester? Project is different, research project is different. No. Okay, fine. Maybe you're going to work on that in the final semester, I believe. Bhautik, the way you're working on a research project, fine. We'll talk about that later. I would like to know on which topic you're working upon. Fine. Okay. So let's go further. I hope the topic that we are going to discuss is quite clear to all. So we are going to discuss about the research proposal. What do we mean by research? So what exactly the research is? I want you to go through all the list of words that I have put here. Just go through it for a minute. So basically, what do you mean by research? Research is something where you try to find out something, where you try to search something, where you try to define, to justify, to argue, to discover, to analysis, to inquire, and to investigate. The very first step of a good research is where you, as a researcher, is in a very confusing state. Then only the research begins. Okay. Means, let's say you're doing MS in microbiology. Okay. And while going through while going through the study of microbiology, at one point of time, uh, uh, you come across a state where you are confused about certain things, you are having doubt, and you try to solve that. You try to find out that what exactly it means. Okay, that is the first step where you, as a researcher, begins the research. Basically, research is all about finding something. Of course, it is about bringing something new, bringing a novel idea, uh, bringing something that nobody has ever thought of. But for that, you should be having a doubt. You should be having a question in your mind. You should be in a state where you're finding something. You're finding the solution. You're trying to find out something. So that's the very first step. That's the very first stage where your journey as a researcher begins. So whenever you plan to do a serious research in your area of specialization, make sure you have a lot of questions in your mind, because that is the first step of doing research. If there is no question, you cannot do research at all. So there should be a question, whether it is valid or not valid. Don't worry about that. But your mind should be full of questions. Like, if I do like this, what will happen next? Okay. if someone has worked upon this area, what if I further develop it and find out a new way to work upon that area? So you should be having so many questions in your mind. That's the very first stage of doing a research. So the very simple meaning of research is where someone tries to find out something, someone tries to answer something, someone tries to define something, someone tries to justify something. Let's say you're reading something and you're trying to justify that portion of writing. Someone tries to argue something. Let's say you're reading something that is related to microbiology and you are not agree with the concept and you try to argue that is also a kind of research that you are doing. That is also a kind of research where you're bringing your ideas against someone's concept. Research is all about discover something that nobody has ever discovered in this world. Okay, research is all about analysis something and put your ideas into that. Research is also about inquire. That's the very first step of research. You should be inquiring about the things that you really like, that you really find interesting enough. So research is all about investigating a particular thing. Now, whenever I say research, you should keep in mind that I'm talking about your area of specialization, that is microbiology. Okay, so I hope I've given you the basic idea of research. What we mean by the research. If this is clear, I would like to go further. Yes. Can I can I go further? I hope this is clear. Fine, fine, fine. Okay. Is this clear to Rajvi Akolia? Rajvi, I hope this is clear to all. Rajvi, Upasna, I hope what we mean by research is clear now. Upasna, Rajvi, fine. Yeah, Nisha Ben, I hope this is clear to you. Nisha, Nancy. Now, now I believe that what research is quite clear to us. Now, what is this research proposal? So, the very simple definition of research proposal is it is a systematic approach to design a research. Proposal means you as a researcher, you are planning to do a research in a very systematic way. Okay, whatever. Let's let's. I'll give you one example to understand this. For example, you want to plan something. Okay. Yes. For example, you want to plan a trip. So there should be a very systematic planning of it in terms of booking the tickets, booking the hotels, and your background is video. That's because of the aeroplane thing. I hope now you're getting my voice clear. Yes. Okay. It's too loud. Is this clear now? Fine. Let's go. Okay, let me give you one example. Let's say you're planning the trip. So, in terms of planning the trip, you should be having a very systematic planning in terms of booking the tickets first, booking the hotels, selecting the destinations that you're planning to visit, and then again booking the return tickets. So we'll go with the systematic planning. The same goes with the research. So whenever you're planning to do a research in your domain, you should be having a very systematic planning. You should be having a very systematic design, a very systematic draft of your research paper. Okay. How you should do that? So there are steps that you should follow in order to complete a quality research. So this research proposal, if we want to define this term, it's like having a very systematic approach to design a research. That's what we mean by the research proposal. Okay. Now, what we should do to fulfill this systematic approach of a research. Before we go with that, I would like to address three questions here. How would you like to work upon your research project? So basically, there are three major questions, and I would say basic questions that is going to help you throughout your research journey. The first is what, second is how, and third is why. In this session, we are dealing with writing a research proposal. It is just a first session. We'll be continuing this topic for I think 2 to 3 sessions. Okay. For this session only, I'm focusing upon what and why. How part we are going to discuss in the next series lecture. I hope this is clear to all. Yes or no? Fine. So there are three basic questions that helps you in terms of framing the entire research. First is what? Now, these three questions you're supposed to ask yourself as a researcher. What means, what are you planning to do? What are you planning to do in your research work? How means, how are you going to do that? And why are you doing that? Okay. What is the purpose of doing that? Why do you need to do research of that particular topic only, and why not others? Okay. If you are clear with these three things, that means you are doing great in terms of doing research. Okay. If in case you are not clear, first you should have the clarity with these three things, then only you should start doing the research. Remember, doing research is not easy. Of course, it is not. So, we'll try to be a good researcher who is honest. Will try to be a good researcher whenever it's about doing research in a particular area or on a particular topic. And in this journey of being a researcher, the very first thing is you should be very honest with yourself in terms of doing research. Okay, it's a lifelong commitment that you are doing with yourself whenever you're planning to do a research. I would like to discuss these three basic questions in detail in the upcoming slide. I hope this is clear. So you should be asking these three questions to you continuously: what, how, and why. If this is clear, you are on the right track. Now here we start the steps in research proposal. So this session of writing a research proposal, it's a very introductory session where I would like to address the very basic things that is related to writing a research proposal. Of course, as I told you, I'll be spending a few hours to deal with this topic. So we'll be having series lectures. So this is just an introductory lecture where I'm introducing the topic to you. So don't worry, I'm going to give you the very general idea, and we in the next session we'll go with in details with all these components that is related to writing a research proposal. Okay. Steps in research proposal. So as I told you that the term research proposal, it defines that there should be a systematic approach. There should be a systematic planning to do something. So of course, it is very important for you as a researcher to follow this step whenever you want to do research on a particular topic. The very first thing is identification of research topic. How to identify the topic? It's very simple. You need to see, to become a good researcher, uh, you should be able to talk to yourself. Okay, so you should be able to communicate to yourself. You should be able to asking yourself so many questions. What exactly you want to do in terms of doing the research? Okay, on which topic are you interested in doing the research? So how to select the topic? Definitely, that's up to you. uh, in microbiology, there are so many different areas, there are so many different fields, there are so many different sections. So just think about, select a particular area that you find very interesting enough to do research upon. Okay. So, as I told you, doing the research is a lifelong commitment. So, make sure you select topic wisely. That is going to help you in terms of developing your career. That is going to help the society in terms of contributing something, and it should be interesting enough so that you can be with the topic for the entire life. If you're not liking the topic, please don't go for that topic. You should be absolutely interested on something, then only you should go for that. So whenever it is about selecting the topic, it's absolutely your choice. If you find it good enough, just go for that, and that's how you should be able to select the topic. I'm just giving you the overall idea. We are going to discuss that in details in the next lecture. Okay. I hope the first step is quite clear. Selecting identification of the research topic, yes or no? Quickly send me the response so that I can go further. The first step of the research is clear. Thank you. Review of related literature. Review of related literature means, let's say you have finalized the topic. For example, I'm interested doing research in food microbiology, okay, or maybe industrial microbiology, or maybe medicine microbiology. Now, as a researcher, I will see, that who else has contributed in that particular area. Let's say food microbiology. So here I'm referring 10 other researchers or 10 writers or 10 authors who has contributed something in that particular area. So that's how I'm reviewing the related literature. Okay. I hope this is clear. We'll go in details in the next session, but I just want to give you the overall idea. The second step of the research proposal is clear to all, reviewing the related literature. Yes or no? Is this clear to Priyaben Savalia? Priyaben, are you there? Priya, Rajeshwari, Pinal, Niyati, is this clear to all? Nisha, Nancy? Fine, fine. Rationale and need of the research. The most important part of your research work is why do you think that the topic that you have selected is so useful, and why do you think that you need to do research on that topic, and what is the reason of doing research on that topic only and why not others? As I told you, doing research means asking 1,000 questions to yourself. Okay, so you should be asking these questions to you simultaneously to get the concrete idea, because whenever you work on your research area and whenever you plan to submit your research proposal, there is a research committee, okay, who is there to evaluate your research proposal. So that's why you should be very much clear in terms of, you should be very much clear in terms of ideas, in terms of the need of the research, in terms of the reason why are you doing that particular research, so that you should be able to answer the questions that you are going to face at the end of the research, as there is a research committee who will ask you so many questions. Okay. I hope the third step of the research proposal is clear. Rationale and need of the research. Is this clear to all? Yes or no? Fine. Definition of terms. Now, when it is about doing a research work, we'll be using technical terms. Technical terms means terms related to your area of specialization. It's a microbiology. So we'll be using terms that is related to your area. We'll be also using non-technical terms. So whenever we'll write the research proposal, how we'll write, what kind of a language we'll be using, don't worry, we'll discuss everything. Okay. So here you should be able to define the terms that you are using in your research proposal. Let's say you're talking about food microbiology and you are using certain terms related to the food microbiology. You should be able to define that term. It shows that you are clear with the concept and you have an appropriate knowledge about that topic, and you are eligible to do research on a particular topic. I hope this is clear to all. Next is variables. What do we mean by variables? Variables means while doing a research, we depend on so many other sources. So there are dependent variables. Okay. Uh, let's say if we want to do research on medicine microbiology, uh, we need some sort of data, we need some sort of resources, and we are dependent on those resources. So whenever you do research, you should be able to identify what are the things you are using in the process of doing research, and how are you using that resources. So what kind of variables, what kind of resources you are using in the process of research, because basically considering your area, that's microbiology, mainly it is about doing experiments, it is about doing practical things. So you should you'll be using so many resources in terms of completing your research. Okay. So you should be able to identify that, and you should be able to use that in an appropriate manner. That's what we mean by the variables. Some resources that you are depend upon as a researcher. I think this is clear to all. Yes or no? Ma'am, your background noise is too loud. Just a minute. Just is it okay now? Tasvi? Tasvi Nikum, is it okay? Okay. Wait. I hope this will work now. Is it okay now?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. Fine. Yes, so we were talking about variables. I believe this is clear. Let's go to the next step of writing a research proposal, that is research questions, objectives, and hypothesis. This is something that is the most important part of your research step, that is research questions. Research questions is where your research begins. So as a researcher, what exactly you are as a researcher, what exactly are you trying to find out? And that's how you should be able to frame the research question. Okay, what are the objectives of doing a particular research? Why are you working on such a topic? So what is your objective behind doing a research on that specific topic? And hypothesis is a kind of a solution, tentative solution that you are giving to the research questions. So basically your hypothesis is based on your research questions and the objectives of the research. These are the terms. I'm just giving you the general idea. Don't worry, we are going to discuss that in details for the better clarification. Okay, this is just an introductory session of writing a research proposal. Don't worry, we'll go in depth. I hope this step is very much clear to you. Research questions, objectives, and hypothesis. Research questions means in the process of doing research, you as a researcher framing a very valid questions um, uh, that is related to the research, and you as a researcher provide objectives in terms of why are you doing research on a specific area. And then hypothesis means you as a researcher provide a tentative solution of the research questions, of the research problem. Is this clear? Fine. Can I go further, students? Okay. The next step is method, samples, and tools. Method is something that is very important. The way research questions are important, the same way method is important. Method is how are you going to do the research? Okay. Uh, through which point of view you are going to do the research, through which point of view you are going to approach your topic for the research. So that's the method, research methodology. And there are types of research methodology that we are going to discuss in the series lecture of the same topic. Samples and tools. As I told you, in the area of science, there are so many tools that you need to use to complete the research. So what kind of tools are you using as a researcher, and are you doing any sort of sample study in on a particular topic? So that is also you should be quite clear with when it is about doing the research. I hope this step is clear. Method, samples, and tools. Yes? Yes, sir. Fine. Next is significance of study. Do you think that the research, the topic that you are working upon is significant enough in the present scenario? If yes, then why and how? You should be able to justify that. Next is bibliography and references. I hope this is clear to all. Significance of study. Why are you studying? Why are you doing research on that particular topic? How that particular topic is significant considering the present scenario. You should, if the committee will ask certain questions, you should be able to answer that. I hope this is clear to all. Yes, okay. Next and the most important part of writing a research proposal is bibliography and references. So I would like to discuss what is the difference between bibliography and references. References means in the process of research, you are referring something, and you are using the content, you are using that thing to justify the knowledge on something. So I hope you're getting my voice. References means whatever the thing that you are referring while working upon your research, and you are using that to justify the knowledge, to justify the concept. This we will consider in the section of references. Let's say you're working on a particular topic and you're referring some blogs, you're referring some websites, you're referring some videos, you're referring some magazines, you're referring some research articles. These are all the references. On the other side, bibliography. Bibliography means, of course, the things that you are referring for your research area, and you would also like to include certain books and resources that is going to help the future researcher to further develop the research in a specific area. Let's say you are doing a research on food microbiology, you are done with the research, okay, and you're still in your bibliography you are including certain textbook and certain resources that is going to help the future researcher to develop your research further. So that thing you're going to include in bibliography apart from the references that you are using for your research. I hope the difference between these two is clear. Bibliography is different, references is different. I hope that difference is clear to all. Yes or no? If no, we cannot go further. Okay. The difference between bibliography and reference is clear to all. Repeat it. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Dhaval. See, reference, when I say references, means let's say I'm doing a research on how many people are affected due to COVID-19. So I want to know the data. How many people are just... Yes. So I'm working on this topic where I want to know how many people have got affected due to this COVID-19. Okay, I want to know the data. Affected means in so many ways. Psychologically, economically. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll try to find out, and for that I'll read articles, I'll watch documentaries based on COVID-19. I'll refer the government data. So these are all the references that I'm using to find out the answer. Okay, so that's references that I'm using. Bibliography means let's say three writers have published a book on COVID-19. Okay. However, I'm not from that, like 3 books are available so far, and I'm referring only 2 books for my research. My purpose here is to identify how many people have affected and in what way they have affected due to this COVID-19. So in bibliography, in references, I'll include these 2 books only that I'm going to refer for my research area. But in bibliography, I can include 3 books, because maybe the third one is useful for you, Dhaval, because after reading my research paper, you feel like you also want to you want to further develop my research. Okay, so in bibliography, I'll include 3 books, because here I'm giving you a space for the future researcher who might be interested on the same topic and who might feel that he or she should further develop the research that I've already talked about, that I've already worked upon. I hope now this is clear, Dhaval. Is this clear? Thank you. Okay, let's quickly discuss this last three steps. That is time frame. So whenever you do research, make sure you maintain a time frame. Let's say you have decided that within 1 month you want to submit the research proposal. You should be able to do that. So set the target and achieve that. That's what we mean by the time frame. Budget. Now you should be you should calculate at least tentatively. You should be able to know what is the budget, and that way you can plan your research. And chapterization, we are going to discuss in the next session. Basically, chapterization is your entire thesis you're going to divide in 5 or 6 chapters. So that's what we mean by the chapterization. We do have time. If yes, then we can see the video. I hope this steps in research proposal is all the steps are clear to all. See, my purpose was to give you the very general idea about this all. Of course, we're going to discuss that in the next session, so do not worry. I'll try to play the video. If in case you are unable to follow the video, please write down in the chat box. Do we have time? Yes. Okay, just a minute. I'll share the video with you. Are you able to see the screen now? Are you able to see the?
Yes,
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to play the video.
We ask for when you apply to the University of Birmingham is a research proposal. And to understand what a research proposal is, think plain and simple, what is the area of research and what is the thing that really matters? It is definitely a proposal, you don't need to have the answers yet, but it's setting out for us that you have got your own ideas, that you have a research area that you want to share.
Ma'am, voice is too low on the video.
Passion as to why you.
Okay, just a minute.
University of Birmingham is a research proposal.
Is it working now?
And to understand what a research proposal is,
Yes, ma'am.
think plain and simple, what is the area of research and what is the thing that really matters? It is definitely a proposal, you don't need to have the answers yet, but it's setting out for us that you have got your own ideas, your research area, and it's passion as to why you really want to address the questions that are big in that area. The best piece of advice I can give you for writing a research proposal is to bear in mind what we call the 4 Ps. That means the person, your preparedness, your project and the place. To think about those a little bit more, we need to know a bit about you as a person, where you've come from in your academic background, your area of interest. Your preparedness, we need to know about what kind of study you've done before, what kind of skills you developed on those study programmes. You might have related skills from outside of study that shows how prepared you are for that particular research programme. But crucially, the project, does it add up? Does it make sense? And finally, does that project need to take place here? So think about the place, think about the University of Birmingham, what's important. To write a good research proposal, you need to include enough information. That means not just setting out the general area, but crucially, what are the one or two really significant questions for your area of research? That can be quite a challenge to decide how big or how small you go. Work with a potential supervisor on that, but always have one or two really striking research questions. In your research proposal, you should also include some of the context, what is going on in the field. And it's really, really useful to think about what's going on now and what's missing. So for some areas that will mean that nothing's been done since the 1950s and now is the time where we need to update it. In other areas, there's a lot going on, but there's still a gap or an angle of approach or particular way of researching it that has been missed. So think about what's going on there already. So there's the question and the context. There are two other useful elements that should go into the research proposal. The element of how you're going to actually answer your question, what people call the methodology. What is it? What actually are you going to do? And don't be afraid to think of that as just the nuts and bolts bit. It's okay to say that you're just going to sit down and read and write with a pencil. But often there'll be types of research that involve interviewing, or types of research that might involve some field work, or trips to an archive. Think about what the method is, not just that you're going to sit in the archive and look at pretty books or pretty images, but what you're going to do to actually interrogate that information. And finally, you need to think in your research proposal about what your research and what your analysis will uncover. You definitely don't need to have the answers yet, but you need to have a good idea as to where it might lead and what the kind of conclusions might be. Think of it really as what original contribution might you make to that research area. Before you start writing a research proposal, the most important thing you can do is make contact with a potential supervisor. Typically, to do that, you might want a draft of an idea and to give a flavour as to what your academic experience is up till that point. Crucial is if you make contact with us, we can help advise you on your research proposal, and that's a really important step with a research degree programme.
I hope all of you have followed the video. Yes, what I'll do, as I told you, I'm going to create this Google Classroom. So there I'll be uploading all the PPTs. So link is there. So Hitarth, you may get the link there. Just wait for tomorrow. Okay. Yes. So fine. So whatever we have discussed so far in this session, it was just an introductory session where I wanted to give you the general idea of what exactly this writing a research proposal is. If there is any doubt, please feel free to ask me. I have set a quiz on this session that all of you are going to attempt in the next session. So there is a quiz. We'll begin with the quiz first. Okay. We do not have time, otherwise we would have done the quiz part today, but that's okay. If there is any question, you can ask me. Fine. Or else I'll go to the attendance thing. Is there any doubt throughout the session? Is there any particular term that you did not understand clearly? Please ask me. Fine. I hope this is clear to all. I hope this is working. This way of thing is working with all of you. Fine. So let me mark the attendance now. Just give me a minute. what you need to do is, I'll tell you the number. You're supposed to unmute your mic and you're supposed to say yes. Okay. Please don't write in the chat box. I hope this is clear to all. Number 1, absent. Number 2,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, present. Number 5,
Yes, ma'am.
present. Number 6,
Present, ma'am.
number 7, 7 number.
Present, ma'am.
Yeah. Number 8,
Present, ma'am.
number 9,
Present, ma'am.
number 10, Amish Kumar, 10 number, absent. Nisha Ben, 11 number,
Yes.
present. Pooja, 12,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, fine. 13, Kinjal,
Present, ma'am.
okay. Number 14, Forum.
Present, ma'am.
Hiral, 15 number. 15 is not there. Okay. 16 number, Radha, absent. 17, Palak, absent. 18, Forum.
Present, ma'am.
This is Forum, right?
Yes, ma'am.
19, Janvi Ben.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. 20, Pinal.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 21, Anjali.
Yes, ma'am.
22, Bhumi.
Yes, ma'am.
24, Prusha.
Yes, ma'am.
25, Bhumi.
Yes, ma'am.
26, Heenal.
Yes, ma'am.
5050, Vivek. Okay. 29, Khushbu.
Present, ma'am.
Yeah. 30, Hetsi.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. 31, Nancy.
Yes, ma'am.
32, Ruthvi.
Yes, ma'am.
33, Denisha.
Yes, ma'am.
34, Nikhil. 34 number, Nikhil. 48, Devanshu.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 35, Priya Ben. 35, Priya. 36, Shivangi.
Present.
37, Niyati.
Yes, ma'am.
38, Poonam.
Yes.
39, Tasvi.
Present, ma'am.
Yeah. 4040, Sagar.
Ma'am.
Okay. 41, Ranjini.
Present, ma'am.
43, Nancy.
Present, ma'am.
44, Upasna.
Present, ma'am.
45, Denisha.
Present, ma'am.
46, Jainab. 46 number. Rajeshwari, 47. Fine.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. 52, Kevin. 53, Rajvi.
Present, ma'am.
54, Mahima Ba.
Present, ma'am.
56, Falaku. If I'm not pronouncing wrong, I'm so sorry. 56 नहीं है. 57 धवल.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. So yeah, we are done with today's session. Okay. 17 is present. यहाँ पे क्यों लिखा है? मैंने मना किया था. That's okay, fine. Okay, I have marked your present, I believe. 17. Fine, I'm going to end the session. Have a nice day. Please take care of yourself.